So, welcome back to Brotato. In this video, we are going through essential tips that are going to help you get easy wins. So this is basically a guide for beginners, but there are some things in there that a lot of players, even with hours and hours of playtime, might not know. So the first one is that weapons are usually best in sixes. Obviously, there are characters in the game that can have 12 weapons, some can have 1. There's even characters that are not allowed weapons at all. But in my opinion, weapons are usually best in sixes, and weapon sets exist, so make sure you're paying attention to them. Some of them are crucial for runs. For an example, with Precise, if you have 6 Precise weapons, you're going to get 15% extra crit chance. And something like the Stick, if you've got 6 of these sticks or any primitive weapon, you're going to get 15 extra max HP. The absolute best starting weapon in this game is the Slingshot. But if your character cannot use this, for an example, if we go back and we look at Well-Rounded cannot start with a slingshot. So what you want to do with a character that can't start with it is try and take a primitive weapon like the Stick, and as soon as you see a slingshot pop up in the shop at the end of a wave, if you take the slingshot and recycle the Stick, because you have a slingshot, the game kind of likes to give you weapons of the same style, so you'll have a bigger chance basically at getting more slingshots if you recycle the Stick and just have the slingshot. Next up is that some characters have stats that people aren't necessarily going to pay too much attention to. So for an example with Chunky, you've got max HP mods increased by 25%, extra damage for your health, and also extra health points recovered from consumables. Then you see the red ones, but if you look at the speed percentage mods, they're reduced by 100%. So Chunky is capped at 0 speed regardless of anything. So any item that pops up in the shop that's going to give you negative speed, take them because they make absolutely no difference to your speed stat. And the absolute best starting character in the game is the Engineer, all the way from Danger 0 up to Danger 3. Once you complete Danger 3, start using the Masochist for 4 and 5. And when you're starting out, if you grab the Engineer and get all wrenches as your weapon, because they are going to give you turrets and the Engineer is based on engineering, the modifications are increased by 25%. You start with plus 10, but not only that, your structures spawn close to each other. So if you don't take too much damage, because that's the modifications are reduced by 50%, grab all the engineering, grab all your wrenches, have all your turrets and stuff, and that is the absolute best way to get through 0 to 3 in the danger levels. Then 4 and 5, I've used the Masochist because that character is just phenomenal. Then when it comes to your stats, when you're playing, don't focus on too many at the same time. For an example, HP regen and lifesteal are pointless to build up together. Either take one or the other. And then when it comes to melee, ranged or elemental, obviously focus on the one that's based around your character. So for an example, if you're playing as Well-Rounded and you're going for a slingshot run, then grab as much range damage as you possibly can. Ignore melee and elemental. Just don't focus on too many at the same time because that's going to stop you becoming as powerful as you can, and it will probably ruin some runs. And when you are playing this game, try and look at the progress tab. So from the main menu, just on the bottom left, click on progress and try to win runs with the specific characters. Because for an example, if you win a run, so you defeat wave 20 with Well-Rounded, you unlock the Potato that will show up in other runs with different characters, and you'll see the stats are a really, really good increase there. And not only that, when you win a run with Chunky, the Potato Thrower is a really, really powerful weapon. So make sure you're not just going through and unlocking all the characters doing those challenges. Win games when possible with certain characters. Some of the builds are really easy, some are going to be a little bit more difficult, but try and get those done because you do unlock really powerful items and weapons and things like that for your future runs. And next up is that trees are your best friend. What we've just destroyed is a tree, and then over here we have another one. Actually, there's another 2. And the trees are your best friend because you can grab a lumberjack shirt, so trees die in 1 hit. But then you can also grab an item called Tree itself that will spawn more trees in a wave. And at the same time, there's an item in the game called Pocket Factory, which will mean that when you destroy a tree, it's going to spawn a turret for you. So if you synergize all of that stuff together, you'll get a lot of extra protection, a bunch of fruit consumables to regen some of your health, a load of extra materials. Just like trees are your best friend in this game. any materials in the game that you do not collect during a wave, if you have a look over here, I've got 51 materials, but I've got 4 in this bag. Any materials you do not pick up during the wave, the value of them is going to be doubled in the next wave. So because that's 4, when I go into the next wave, the first 4 materials I pick up are going to double, so I'll get 8 from the first 4. And if you look at the top of the screen, there is a timer on each of the waves. This goes up to 60 seconds per wave, and you do not need to kill all the enemies that are on the screen. As long as you survive the timer, you will complete the wave. That even counts to the boss wave at wave 20. You do not need to kill that boss. It does give you a nice reward if you do. But if you can't kill it, you're not outputting enough damage, or you're trying to survive so you're staying away from the boss, just surviving the 60 seconds is plenty. And one of the most important stats in any run is luck. You do not need a lot of this. I would say between 10 and 20 is good for a start, but it's such an underrated stat that's going to massively help you out. It gives you a better chance of finding items or consumables when you kill enemies, and it increases the rarity of items in the shop and the level upgrades as well. So you'll see here my level upgrades, I've got 3 standards, I've got 1 tier 2. If my luck was 100 for an example, I could possibly have 3 tier 2s and a tier 3 show up or something like that. Luck is a really, really powerful stat, and you do not need a lot of it to start seeing the benefits. And if you are struggling with Brotato, you're finding it a little bit tough, if you head to the options in the main menu, you go to Gameplay. At the top right, you've got Accessibility. You can lower or raise the enemy health, damage, and speed. They go anywhere between 25% and 200. So you can make the game easier, you can also make it more difficult. And as well as changing all of the percentages, if you want to, what you can do is you can turn on character and weapon highlighting. So that if we turn those on, you are going to see that we've got a glow around, like a circle around our character, and it's also going to show you the rarity of your weapons. So for an example, if you've got 6 rocks and you've got 5 of them tier 1 and 1 of them tier 4, the tier 4 is going to have a glow around it so that you can tell which position of your potato you have your most powerful weapon. So you can try and line that one up with the enemies if you want to. And then if you are struggling a little bit to get some health regen, to get some life steal on your character, you do have the consumables. You have the fruit that drops off trees and can fall off enemies. You do get medical turrets and stuff as well. But if you are going on a run and you can't get much HP regen or life steal, if you go over to your secondary stats, you can see consumable heal. Some characters are going to have a natural benefit to this, but there are certain items in the game like lemonade, and there's also weird food, that are going to increase the amount of health you heal from consumables. And I would say they are really, really important, especially if you've got a high luck percentage, because they can be the difference between winning a run and losing one. And that is some essential tips that you guys need to know to get easy wins in Brotato. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.